Welcome to my tutorial for Blades of Vengeance for the Sega Genesis. This is a pretty damn good game that I didn't know about. I decided to play through this one because it looked like an easy victim. I saw a video where you can warp to the final stage and beat the game, so that's why I chose this. And I decided to show a very easy way to beat the game. It took me around 50 minutes for my first playthrough, which ended up being a no-death run by accident, just the way it worked out. And unfortunately, I lost the footage of that. So what I had to do was I made this tutorial version by replaying the game. And on the final level, after this stage, I refined the stages. So what I did was I made save and load states at various sections of the final level. And I tried to have a polished playthrough of each section for demonstration purposes. So if you want to see my actual no-death, legit playthrough, check out the other video on my channel on this game. That's the full, unedited. Sometimes what I do is when I beat a game legit, I allow myself to play through it again without the consequences when I make a tutorial, just so I can try to demonstrate and refine certain parts. And I actually put some good time into refining some of these sections. It took me about an hour and a half total with this game. 50 minutes to beat it the first time. Then it took me about another 40 minutes to do the tutorial and stitch everything together. Not including the editing, just playing. And then I spent another 10 minutes then I decided to do an actual no-death run again to try to get the legit run. So that took like another 10 minutes. It's a short game when you do this. So yeah, after you see this, you should have everything you need to know to beat this game pretty easily. I'm going to go over the main aspects. A lot of this stuff that you're seeing on screen, I don't think I really need to explain much about this. I recommend choosing the female character because she has the highest jump. From what I read, I actually didn't try any of the other characters because I knew what I wanted to do. So yeah, see, that jump is very hard. I don't really, if you really want to see me mess that jump up, watch the other video because it takes me a while to get that jump right. I got lucky on this run and got it on my first try because I restarted this stage a few times, but I didn't like save state or load state to try to get that jump any better. I just got it when I was playing. So for that jump, you need to land exactly on that invisible platform that you see me land on. And in order to do that, at the peak of your jump, you got to hit the sword strike. That gives your jump a little bit of extra height at the very peak of your jump. Got to time it just right. And you got to land right in that spot. So it's going to take a while, but, just watch the video and see where I land. Then you got to jump diagonally up right from that invisible platform, and you'll get stuck in the wall. Then just keep jumping, and you'll ascend up into this warp zone. Then what you want to do is get all the treasure chests that you see me get. Very easy to do that. And then go to the last door. And that's the warp to the final stage. Then when you get to this purchasing screen, you want to purchase exactly what I purchased. So what I basically purchased was I got all force field potions, 1 strength. Well, first I got the 1 strength helmet. That gives you your crossbow and your armor. Then after that I bought, I think you'll see in the video how many of the force field items that I bought. You want to get the same number. And then I bought like just 1 healing item. I only had enough money left for 1 healing item. You're going to have all the same money and items I have by following this path. So you'll be able to do everything I do here. So yeah, so now I'll start explaining. Now that you have the crossbow weapon, in this level, you're going to want to practice this level with save and load states and segments so that you know exactly what enemies are coming and what to do in each segment. And then put it all together, and then it'll be easy as long as you practice each section. But yeah, the basic idea is right now is just keeping these enemies at bay. By, shooting out. I have a pretty good idea of how many enemies are going to show up, so, I use that to my advantage. But you basically just want to keep the enemies at bay. You don't want to, scroll the screen too fast. Make sure you shoot first. For this, you just do little short jumps. Don't hold the button too long. Just do a short jump over the gaps. Don't get that chest. It's an enemy in there. Use the force field here to cross these spikes. And now, just make sure you shoot all the enemies before moving forward. Those enemies won't drop down off the ledge and fall on top of you, luckily. So, at least the game doesn't do that. Now, this part I messed up, but I actually did it properly in the full playthrough. But you can jump those and duck those if you time it right. So, yeah. Now, for this part, I use the transform magic on this bat when he's right above the trap. And then I activate the trap and he falls in the trap. Great way to get rid of that flying enemy, which is a huge fucking nuisance if you don't get rid of him. Then just shoot these guys out with the arrows. I'm actually using rapid fire, for the bow at this part, so you'll see me toggle it off when I get to the boss, because I don't like using it for the boss. But you really don't need it. You can just mash the button. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Oh yeah, another thing I should explain. The force field and the healing potions that we bought in that screen, the way you toggle all your items is you press start and you press up and down on your directional pad to toggle through all of your different items. Then you unpause the game and you hit A to use the item you have selected. If you stand right there, you won't get hit by the rocks. That's a safe spot. So yeah, basically whenever you get a key, you have to toggle to your key in that menu by pausing the game, pressing up and down to go through your items, and then hit A on the key when you're right next to the gate. There's only going to be one gate that you can pick the wrong one in one area. So I'll explain that. There's one area where you have to pick the left gate, but it's the only part in the game, or in this playthrough on the final level. So for this guy, just go all the way to the left, and just shoot at him, jump and shoot at him. He can't get to you, so you take your time with that. So yeah, healing items obviously heal your health. We're not going to be using any other items, but healing items, force field items, and the strength thing that you purchased. But that strength helmet is automatically equipped. You don't have to use that manually. So you don't have to worry about that. Just potions and force field is all you really need for this playthrough. Nothing else. So I'm not going to go into what all the other shit does. I don't even know what all the other shit does, honestly. For this part, you shoot that guy, and he'll shoot a trident out. It seems like you have to shoot him to bait him into firing at you. And when he does, jump over it, let the trident hit the wall, and then jump on the trident to get up to that platform and get the key in the chest. It's not too hard to pull off. But sometimes you can fall in the pit. Luckily, pits are not insta-death, so you'll survive as long as you get some health. Here you have to crouch on that platform, ride it up, and just stay crouched, and then ride it back down, and you'll get the key. The chest with the key in it. While you're dropping down these ladder areas, make sure you hit up so you don't fall and hit the ground. Otherwise, you'll take fall damage. It's important to do that. Sometimes I've had cases where it didn't catch the ladder, and that sucked. This part is very specific. Equip your force field. Use your force field just as you're about to jump into that flying goblin. Get the shit, and then immediately retreat back out. And if you do it just fast enough, your force field will run out just as you finish doing what you needed to do. That way you don't use... Because initially I was using 2 force field magics, which is a huge fucking waste. So I don't recommend doing that. If you try to shoot that guy off screen, it doesn't work. So that's why I use force field there. Now for this owl, just go behind this wall and just shoot at him. Very easy. Get the key. Use that. The last boss is the main challenge in this game, and that's where item abuse comes into play. I don't even know how to dodge him, to be honest with you. I didn't figure it out. I don't even know if you can dodge his attacks, but there are tricks, like using force field constantly, spamming the force field in, and I'll explain that. For that eyeball that we just... Now this part, use transform magic for this part. See, I didn't use it here because I wasted it. If you're watching my legit playthrough, I was smart enough to save my transform magic in the selection wheel or selection menu. But since I was kind of greedy and wasted my what transform does, when you use transform, it makes all the enemies on screen turn into goblins, which are very easy. So if you use transform there, you'll make that part very easy. Turn all the flying birds into goblins and just kill them and get the key. But I fucked that up. But if you want to see the game again, check out my other playthrough. It's actually a little bit better in those 2 parts. So yeah, for this, all you're going to do here is make sure you always have your force field on and jump in this spot where I'm at and just keep firing your crossbow while you're in the air. Now if you tap the fire button multiple times while in the air, and if you time it right, you'll do 4 shots in midair. It's a tricky move to pull off, and I don't get it that often, but I try to get it as much as I can. You have to get the right rhythm to tapping the button. You don't just mash it real fast. So yeah, once my force fields run out, then I'm stuck using healing items, and then it gets really tight. See, when you're down to the last dragon head, it's a lot harder to get hits in, so you just got to kind of hope for the best here. I don't really have a great strategy for trying to do this without... I don't know how to do this without getting hit. I think you're supposed to use your force fields and shit like that and all your items. I think it's like an item abuse type of boss. But yeah, just make sure that when your force field runs out, you're activating the next force field immediately, because you don't want to take that extra damage when you don't need to. So try to activate it. Pay attention, activate it immediately, and then you can jump up and down without taking any damage. So you won't get knocked out of your attacks. But as soon as your force field ends, you're going to start getting hit again. So make sure you get that back on. And look at your health. If your health is if it gets half or below, use your healing item, because the healing items will replace half of your health. So use it when you're about half down. Or, wait a little while if you're not sure. But that's about it. All you really need to do is save and load state and just practice. The first stage should be very easy. And the hard parts are going to be doing that little tricky jump to get up to the warp. That's a little tricky. So that may take a few tries. And the boss can be quite hard because it's like an item abuse type of boss, but it can go very sloppy if you don't get it right. But I would recommend, if you're interested, if you like this game, check out the full playthrough that I have on the channel, the legit playthrough, not the stitched together tutorial version. This is all stitched together, like I said. I refined sections and I edited together. But if you want to see the legit playthrough, no death, check out the other video on the channel of this game. And it also shows, you don't have to hear my commentary. You don't have to hear my fucking voice. You can listen to the music of the actual game and the sounds of the game. And like I said, there was a few parts that I actually did better in my second legit run of the game. Because like I said, I lost my first recording when I beat it the first time. So I redid it 2 more times. I redid it once doing the tutorial version where I tried to refine parts to make a better video for demonstration purposes. And then after that I was like, fuck it, I'm kind of pissed off that I didn't get my legit no death run. So on video. So I wrote it down, but I didn't actually get to record it. So I was like, fuck it, let me do this again. And really it only takes about 10 minutes to beat this game when you put everything together. It's very short if you do this. It actually seems like quite a good game. It seems like a very good game. I would have liked this game a lot. EA released a lot of shitty games. They had a few great ones like the Desert Strike, Jungle Strike, Urban Strike games. And I think, like I said, there was a few great EA games, but Road Rash is amazing. But they released so much shit too at the time. It was mixed. But this is quite a good game. I would have liked to own this game. I may even want to replay this at some point without the warp. I was just looking for an easy kill. I always like to add games to my kill list. And I'm close to 100 Genesis games on my games beaten list. So I kind of wanted to rack up a few more Genesis games. I did Rolling Thunder 3 recently, which is a great game. That's actually a pretty easy one. I did a tutorial on that one too, so check that out. You shouldn't have too much trouble beating that if you're familiar with these games. It's really not too hard until you get to the last boss. It's a little tricky. I'm probably going to do Rolling Thunder 2 soon. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.